Hey, I wanted to do this video because I wanted to discuss safety at home opens. Now, I've just conducted a home open. There's been a large number of people that were registered and were, attending. And I was taking people through in groups because obviously with the property being tenanted, there's tenant items and everything. And it's my standard practice, and that's what I tell people, at the start, and then they're all lining up. So everything was going fine. I had a group of people inside the house. It's only a small house, a little 3-by-1 unit. So not a lot of room. So I basically, sort of determine how many groups I can take through at a time, because I'm obviously keeping an eye on things. Anyway, so I was coming to the end of a particular group's, viewing, and a guy just marched through into the house, and I said, "Oh, sorry, I'm just finishing off with this group. There's been," he sort of commented about people, outside, and I said, "Yes, they're waiting. They're waiting for their turn." And he said, "Well, we've been waiting here." And I said, "Yeah, well, there's a line here." So he went to the back of the line, sort of got a bit funny about it. Anyway, so he went to back of the line. Anyway, I was marking people off, and I made it quite clear during my conversations with marking people off that that's the reason I was taking people through in groups and moving to the side, so that I could control things. Anyway, and then I got to the point where there was probably about 5 people left, and I said, "If you don't mind waiting, I'm just taking this group through." And this particular chap took it upon himself to get quite aggro and say, "Excuse me, we've been waiting a long time as well. Why can't we come through?" And I'm sort of saying, "Well, I've kind of got to..." Anyway, in the end, I just went, I just thought this person is not nice. Anyway, so a lady checked herself in, and he'd mentioned a lady's name. So I checked her in, and then as I took the group through, it was just her. And so he didn't come inside. So I said, "Are you coming through?" And he goes, "Oh, no, I don't need to." And I said, "Well, you've made an issue about this because everybody's in front of us. You may as well come inside," because he was quite vocal and very loud and aggressive. Anyway, so I said, "Oh, fine." Then I closed the door and went inside, and his partner was sort of walking through. And then he came storming into the house. I was standing in the central area. The door flung open, and I went out there. He'd flung the door open wide, so I banged against the thing, came in, verbally abusing me at the top of his voice, swearing F, blah, 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 pointing his finger at me. "You've got all the power and you don't need to, anyway, I can't even remember everything he said. It was a mind blur. And I kind of just glanced to the right because I was concerned about the people that were already here viewing inside of the house. They were just all standing there staring. And he sort of apologized to them, but then continued his absolute tirade at me. He was about probably 10 inches from my face, and I just held my ground and stared him right back. Anyway, he was calling me the C word and blah blah, and he's like, "Oh, blah blah about this house, and let's just get out of here, blah blah." And I said, "Please remove yourself from this house," because obviously he was not treating it with respect, verbally, or the way he entered that house, and so he didn't like that at all. He was just obviously concerned that he felt I had power over everybody when I'm just trying to run a home open the way I always do run home opens when I've got tenants in place. Clearly he's that type of person, it seems, that doesn't like women in any kind of authoritative position, and being told what to do. And the first realization of that was the fact that he walked past everybody else that was waiting quietly and patiently in the queue, took it upon himself to enter the property ahead of the line. And when he went to the back of the line, I looked at the line, and everybody's eyes were kind of like, "Oh, that was a bit rude," and he sort of was commenting, "Oh, well, people just in Perth just queue for no reason." And I thought, that's so rude to these people who are standing there. So he was an extremely rude, aggressive person. who verbally abused me at the top of his voice, and paid no respect to the house either, with the way he flung that screen door open. And but I was quite shook up at the end of it, and I just sort of tried to retain my professionalism and continue on with the home open. But there were a couple of ladies in there that were extremely visibly concerned. So I just thought, that poor woman that he's with. But anyway, obviously he would never get it if he applied anyway, because that kind of behaviour is not tolerated whatsoever.